Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Krabes Major, and if this is not your first time, welcome back. This is my part 5 on how to develop a WordPress theme using ACF Pro and starter theme called Underscore. In the last video, I showed you how you can echo your images on the slider. So I've showed you how to do that. In this video, I want to take this one step further and show you how you can create this slider dynamically in such a way that our user will be able to control our slider, things like the text on the front end and also the image on the background. And to do that, we are going to use ACF Pro. So I'm going to show you how you can use ACF Pro and link it with our slider so that our users will be able to change images, text, even the buttons. I'm going to show you how to hide some elements and also how to show them. So without any further waste of time, let us go and set up this in ACF Pro. To set up this in ACF Pro, we need to go to our dashboard. So I'm gonna go to our dashboard and then you locate your plugins, and under install plugin, we are going to use at least 2 plugins. So the first one is ACF Pro and Classic Editor. So Classic Editor is optional. So let us install ACF Pro. And on our left hand side menu, you'll see that there is an option that says ACF. So if you hover on it, you'll see that there is field group, post type, and taxonomies, tools, and updates. So we are interested with field groups. So I will click field groups. Here you can name your field and add your field as you want. So but before we create any field, I would like us to go and preview our site so that I will explain something. You can see that our slider consists of the heading, then we have a description, and also the 2 buttons. And another thing that comes with our slider is a background image. And now if you click on this navigation, it shows us that our sliders are repeating. So in ACF Pro, we have a field group called repeater. So in order to achieve this, we will use that field called repeater. So let us create our field group. So I'll add a new field group and I'll name this field group Hero Slider. Alright, so this will be called Hero Slider. So this is the name of our field group. And underneath it, we have field types. Like I said, we are going to use a field type called a repeater. So if you scroll down, you see that we have repeater. So here's a repeater just above flexible content. So I'll pick this. Alright, so there we go, we have a repeater, and then we need to name our repeater. So I'll call our repeater slider or slides. In fact, let me call them slides. So this will be the name of our repeater field. Alright, so underneath we have subfield. So this subfield consists of section inside our slider. So the first one that we talk about was the heading. So our slider has heading. So we'll name this one heading. Then we'll give it a field type of text because it's heading, and then if you click on this, it will collapse. And we'll name the second one. The second one was the description just below the heading, so I'll name this description. So I'll say this is descriptions. And then what field type is that? What is the field type? The field type, I'll give this a text area because our description has more text compared to our heading. So I'll name that our text area, and then I'll collapse that. And another option was the background image. I'll add a new field, and under field type, this is an image, and under options here, we have an image, and I'll name this image. And then it's an array, so we'll leave it at array, and then I'll collapse this. And then now we have our 3 fields. And this concludes our ACF. We need to give it a location. So you can see here under post type, we have different post type that you can choose from. So the post type that I want this to be at will be under post type. And then here it's on post. So this is our WordPress post here. So in every post, these ACF options will appear there. So I want to make sure that it appears under pages. So I'll select pages instead, and then I'll save this. Now, if we can go under pages, so I'm just going to open all pages. So these are default pages that came with WordPress. And then now if we can add a new page, you'll see that we have that option below that. So you see here we can add page title and then text under it. But if you look below that, we have our ACF options. So here's the reason why I want us to install Classic Editor, is because of this. So this kind of confused a lot of people because it uses Gutenberg, and you can see that it's kind of complex. So to make our back end look easier, I prefer to install Classic Editor. So I'll activate Classic Editor. You will now see the difference when we installed Classic Editor. So I'm just going to refresh this. So I'll reload, and then you see that now the backend looks easier. And then now we have this field, or this text field, this big box. We can use ACF Pro to remove this. So let's go to ACF. Under ACF Pro, we are looking under presentation. So if now I click on this, it's going to toggle everything, and then we save. And now if we go back, this field will be gone. So I'll refresh. There we go. So that field is gone. And then now we can name our home page. So I'll name this home as home page. We are given 3 options. We have heading, description, and image. So now if you add a new row, we can say this is heading 1. Text description. So let me see, where can I get the description? I'll copy this lorem ipsum. Can go back here and edit there. So under images, our background image, let me take what we have on the front end. Let me take this as our first option, and then you can add another one, because now this is a repeater. You can add as many as you want. I'll give this heading 2 and then put lorem ipsum, and then another image. Let me take this one. I'm sure it's not there on the front end. Yeah, all right, it's not there on the front end. Well, yeah, it's not there. All right, so now we do have our slider. So our slider option, we have added our field, so we can publish. Here we have home page, but nothing will change on the front end. So let's refresh that. There, nothing changes. All right, so to make our home, or the page that we just created now, to be a home page, we go to WordPress. If you look, we have settings. So under setting, you go to readings. So what happened now is that WordPress is displaying our latest post as our home page, but you can change that by coming to a static page, and then you select your static page, you save. So let us view our static page now. So I'll refresh this. You can see that now we have our home page, which is this one. So we are showing our static page, and it has our header and footer. Let us show our slider on this page. So we want to make sure that this home page shows our slider, and those sliders are dynamic, powered by ACF. We're gonna go to our code editor. So this is a page that was responsible to display our front page, but now it's not. And to make our home, or the page that we just created in WordPress, to display our front page, we'll need to add one file here, and then that file is called frontpage.php, and then there's a file, and from this file I'm just going to write a text. So I'll say hello. I'll say hello from frontpage.php. Now if we see this text on the front end, we'll know that this is the right file, or WordPress is reading the right file. So let's go back. So this is a current page, so let's refresh. Let's see, let me see if we've saved our changes. So there we go. It's in the wrong folder, so it needs to be in a root folder. So I've entered that inside our template parts. It shouldn't be here. Let me try to drag. Alright, so I've dragged it to the root folder. So I think that it's a correct location. Everything is saved. Let's refresh. There we go. So now you can see that WordPress is reading the file that we just added. Alright, so now let us add the head and the footer. And to add the head and the footer, I've showed you, or we have went through that. So we just add a code called PHP. We open PHP, and then the code for header is called get header, and then that's a function, and then we close. And then for a footer, the code is called, we open PHP, and then we say get footer, and then that's a function, and then we close PHP. So now I'm expecting to see the header and the footer and our text in between. So let's refresh this. There we go. So you can see that we have the header and the footer and our text in between that. Right now, let us put our slider inside this. And to put our slider, we go back to our text editor, and our code for slider was found inside our index file, which is this one. So I think I've already opened it here. So this from revolution starter, or where the revolution slider starts, to where the revolution slider ends. So I'll copy. In fact, let me cut this code. So I'll cut everything from here and replace this text with what I have on a clipboard. So now if we save this, we can also save here and go back, we reload. So our slider are now showing, but our slider are not controlled by ACF, not yet. And to do that, we need to go and put a repeater code, ACF repeater code, inside our slider. And you can search that repeater code under ACF repeater. So if we search for that and you go to the first page, which is ACF repeater, and we copy the code that is responsible for displaying the slider. If you scroll down, you see that we have a basic loop, and that we are not looking for. So the code that we are looking for is this one, because here it says display a slider. So I'll copy this. And now let's go back to our front page. So here's front page, and we'll need to work around this code. Let us put our code, our ACF code right here, and then we go through it. You can see that we have opening of PHP, and then we have rows. We have created a row on ACF, and then this is HTML code. I don't think we're gonna use this code because here we have our HTML code that we are going to use. So I'll remove that HTML code, and also this one. In fact, I'm going to remove all the HTML code. So I'll remove this because these are not our HTML code. This is a pure code that comes from ACF. And now if we look at this code, we have rows. So we do have rows inside our ACF. And then now we have a variable called image. And then this is calling a get subfield. And then we have image. So this is the name of the subfield that come from ACF. And then that followed by get attachment. So this one is echoing the attachment, which is the image, and it has the name of our variable, which is image, and then here it has full, meaning that it must show the full image. And then that followed by another subfield called caption. So this will be the name of the image. So we are not going to use this one. So right now we need to put our HTML code inside this code. So we have a while loop. This while loop is going to loop all our slider and display our slider. Alright, so now if we can read our HTML code, you see that we have a container here. The div is a container. So we are not going to loop through this. And then we have another container inside that container, and we are not going to loop through that. And we have an ordered list. And inside an ordered list, we have list item. So we have li, which is 1. And then it closes here, and another li starts right there. Alright, so this shows you that our list items are going to repeat. and we can simply copy one of this li list. So if I copy it up to there, so I'm just going to cut this because it repeats itself. We put it inside the while loop because the while loop is going to run through the loop and loop everything on the back end. So this code we are not going to use either. So I'll leave this because we have a subfield called image. So let's go back to our ACF. All right, so we have a row. This is a row, and the name of the row is called slides. Let's go that, and then we have the name of our repeater field. Again, I have named it slides. All right, so now you can see that we have a heading, and then the name of the heading or the subheading is called heading. And then here we have an image, and then the name is called image. And our code, which is this one, came with this variable called image and is calling a subfield called image. So meaning that inside this, we can put our HTML code. So I'm just going to paste our clipboard. All right, so this is HTML code that is going to repeat. All right, so the li is going to repeat itself. Hence, I put it inside our list item. And wherever there is an image, we can put this variable. But before we go there, let us first look at the rows. So our rows is called slides. I think we can, let's go back and look at the name of our row, which is that it's called slides. So I'll copy that, and then you can replace it here, but nothing will change because everything is the same name. And then now, wherever there is an image, which is this image, so now we are calling these different images, so we can put our variables. So I'll delete this part up to there, and then now we call the variable called image. And then remember, this is an array. We need to specify what is it that we want inside the array, and we are looking for a URL. So we are looking for a link of that image so that this code will be able to show the image inside that link. And then we do the same on all codes, and which is this one and also this one. So we call that variable, so image, and it's an array. And then we need to specify what we are looking for inside that array. Now we are left with that and that. We are going to also change that. So let us save and let us preview. So I'll refresh here. All our 3 sliders are showing here, but something is broken and we need to fix that. Oh, okay, we forgot this code. So what happened here, we need to copy this code and then we put it before our while loop. So I'll put it there and then indent this. So these are opening containers. Let me close this. Okay, so now we need to close these containers. So the first thing that we are going to close is a UL element. So we close there, put it in the right place, followed by our div. So we close the div, put it in the right place, and another div, put it in the right place. So right now we can delete everything that comes below this. I'll just delete everything up to here, and then we leave our footer, our get footer. So let me delete everything. Okay, so our slides will end here. So I'm just, these are just extra, guys. We have put our containers, so let's save this, and then now we can come back here and refresh. There we go. So we have our heading, we have our description, and also button. So now you can scroll, you can navigate. So you can see that now this is controlled by ACF, and this is like a dynamic. The last part that I want to show you is that in some cases you might want to show the buttons. You might want to show this button, and also you might want to hide them. Inside ACF Pro, there is a field called select. So I'm just going back to our slider, and inside this field, if we add one more field and then that field type is called a select field type, which is this one. And how does field work? Here I'm going to name this field button. We have the name. Let me just copy that name. So we are given options here. So this is how you give your option. So the first one, I'm going to say show btn, meaning show buttons, and then the text will say show buttons. And then the second one, we want to hide. So if you want to hide btn, meaning hide buttons, and then the human readable words will be hide buttons, and then the default will be show. So if I said show btn, so that will be the default. We save this, and if we go to our edit homepage, which is this one, so remember we only have these two sliders, so let's refresh. Now we have a fourth option, and this third option says show or hide slider. We need to go to our slider and put this option. Let us Google that. So I will say ACF select, so that it will give us the code that is responsible for select. And now let's look through this code, and we want to display one value. This value is responsible for displaying multiple values, but we are only looking for one value. So I'll copy this. Let's go to our text editor. So we want to locate where our button starts. So there we go. Our button starts from this div and closes on that div. So if we go above this button or above this div and paste our clipboard code that we got from ACF, and this code ends right here. Here we have a variable. A variable can be anything. So here they are looking for colors. We are looking for buttons. So it's going to be buttons. What am I writing? Buttons. So it's going to be a button, and the name of our button was button. Remember from ACF, we've named that buttons, which is this one. So it's button. So I'll change this to button, right? And let's go down. All right, so here we have if. So remember, we are not looking for colors, so we are looking for buttons. So it says if buttons, and then we need to give it a condition. So the condition is that if button is equal to, and then we give our options. So remember, let's go back. Remember here we have choices. So if button is equal to either one of these values, so I'll choose this one, show button. So if button is equivalent to show button, then do something. And then what do we want to do? We want to show the button. So I'll delete this code and then go from this div until the closing of div, and I'm going to take this like inside this code. All right, so now we are saying if button is equivalent to this one, so show this code, and the opposite will be true. So let's save this. So here I'm going to put it on hide, and then here show. So let's update and go back here. So remember the first slide, which is this slide, it's on hide, and then the second slide is on show. So let's refresh, and I'm expecting the first slide to show no buttons. There we go. So there are no button on the first slide, and then on the second slide we expect button. Okay, so no button on both slides. So let me see something. Let's go back to our code, and then we have button. Oh, okay, so here our code came with get field. Remember, we are dealing with subfield. Need to be very careful about that. So subfield, let's go back and refresh. So the first one, shouldn't show button. The second one, there are buttons. So you can see, you can add your third slider. So I'll say this is heading 3, and then copy this lorem ipsum, put it inside here, and then in background image I'll take this one, and then on this one let us hide the button too and update. Alright, so we are expecting the second and the third not to show buttons. Okay, the first one it doesn't show, and then the second one and the third it should show. I'm sorry about that. So the second it shows, and the third it should show. It's hidden. I'm sorry about the confusion. Okay, so this one it's hidden. First is hidden, second it shows, and then the third it's hidden. That's how it should be. So our code is working, and now we are on our way into developing other parts of the website. So that's how you develop, that's how you make slider inside ACF Pro. So if you find this video helpful, please make sure that you subscribe, you like and comment, and click on a bell notification so that when I release part 6, you'll be the first to be notified. See you on the next video.